Welcome to Fast Pace, the new growth, leadership and management podcast featuring Josh Phegan and Dean Mackie. We wanted to peel back the layers on what happens in the world of fast-paced real estate agencies, from new leadership models to the management challenges we all face each day. This is about a new era in the estate agency sector. Rapid changes to business models, service lines, remuneration and growth present the greatest opportunities that we've ever seen. Sit back, get inspired, grow your skills, and reimagine what's possible with Fast Pace. Every Friday, wherever you get your podcasts, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Josh Phegan Digital.
Dean, the competitive advantage that's used is actually a competitive advantage, but a competitive advantage that's not used is not a competitive advantage. Dean, it's a really important conversation for any business owner to get right about really understanding what are the competitive advantages that they've got. Maybe it's a brand competitive advantage, could be a geographic competitive advantage, maybe it's an offering around what it is that they do, but they've got to make sure that's clearly documented, that people actually live out that competitive advantage to really make a difference for the consumers they go to serve. Dean, what are competitive advantages? How do you build one? What does it look like inside of any great real estate practice across Australasia?
I guess a lot of people think about this in different ways. Some people might think, how do I create a business that has that cost advantage, i.e. I can deliver at a lower cost to serve, or how can I deliver an experience for the customer in a particular way that's different? How do I provide people with service or tools, or how do I sort of give them a unique and exclusive product? There's not any one thing I think that can create a competitive advantage. I think there's a whole bunch of things that can create a competitive advantage, and the more of those that you can create, the stronger your business is going to be.
And sometimes they can be short-term competitive advantages.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, because you might only be able to survive it for a period of time because some others catch up, right?
Yeah.
So I think what you've got to do is just be thinking curiously and innovatively of how you're going to be running a world-class business, because it happens at all levels. It's not just what happens outside the business, but it's also what happens inside the business. And I think a lot of people externalize competitive advantage about, it's a new marketing tool, it's a new shiny tool. Well, guess what? I think those things are really, to your point, are really short-lived. You've got it for some point in time and then everyone's copied you, right? But that's not really a competitive advantage. That's like a small little USP for a short period of time just because you were first mover. So I think you've got to think a lot more around competitive advantages as how do you potentially, or for example, one of the most important things, or the most important thing in most businesses is their people, right? And the culture inside that business. That can be a significant competitive advantage leveraged correctly and led correctly, right? This is what I said, led correctly, because your people need leadership, right? They need vision, they need values, they need standards, they need training. Do they have a growth mindset? Do they collaborate? All those things can really set you apart in a market from your competition by the way your people behave and work together or not. And I think, start there. Start with your people around what sort of business do you actually want to have and who do you want in there and what type of people do you want to have working for, delivering the experience for your customer. That's number one for me, right? Number two is understand the customer. All right, what is it the hell that your customer wants, and how can you make it easier for them to do business with you? How do you give them a digital experience? Because most people, it starts digitally these days. How do you give them a really great digital experience and back it up with excellent people who know what they're talking about, who are authentic and real and collaborate and all that stuff? So I sort of run through that and I go, okay, cool. So it's incumbent upon me to understand the customer, make it easy on the customer, and invest in tools and systems and architecture to increase the efficiency of my business, to increase the productivity of my people, and give the customer an awesome experience. So I think if you want to talk about that in a very specific way, right? There are so many bits of prop tech running around the business at the moment, right? And there's a suite of tools that happen in a business that I find are often not connected or interconnected in any sort of architecture that allow it to be a seamless experience, right? And so if you look about a suite of connected tools, just think about that. You take all the stuff you've got at the moment, find a way to connect it. The experience that your customer and your agent's going to have internally is going to be a competitive advantage for you if it's actually seamless. If it's not and it's broken, think about all the friction points that could actually be happening out there in the marketplace. So just getting your operational efficiency and your execution of your tools and get everything working together can create for you a competitive advantage. So Josh, then I can go into things and say, what about your leadership? What does that look like? How does your leadership actually operate? Is it a hierarchical top-down approach, or is it more of an enablement type environment? What's your business model? So there's a lot of people out there that have different models. They're looking for it. They might have a low margin, quite simple type offer versus someone's trying to provide a whole bunch of value adds, right? So understanding, what is it that your business model is designed to do, and how are you going to create a platform to leverage to actually deliver that experience, because you could even have some of the best tools in the world and some unique experiences and all that sort of stuff. But if you're not enabling or finding a way for your team to deliver that out in the marketplace, then you're just wasting your time as well.
Mm-hmm. If you look at it, what's your favourite competitive advantage that you've ever seen? Like in any business, in any sector, in any industry, is there one thing you go, hey, that was an awesome competitive advantage and geez, they nailed that and owned a market because of it for a period of time?
Well, all you do is look at your Apple phone, right?
Right. Yeah.
Just look down at your desk right now. You got an Apple phone on it. That's a perfect example, right?
Yeah.
First mover was Tesla, with cars, you just think about.
So is competitive advantage linked to first mover?
Well, not necessarily, but it can be.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
Because they're trying more stuff, right?
Well, don't forget, what was that thing we used to use, the
BlackBerry,
the Crackberry, right? That was the first mover. That was amazing. And where is it now? It's gone, right? Because it didn't stay innovative and its business model wasn't right and a whole bunch of other reasons, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not just first mover. You got to be prepared to evolve. Where you start's not where you finish. And even if you went first, if you don't stay innovative, you'll be on the wrong side of change, right? Because things move pretty quickly these days. Mm-hmm. So I look at it and go, companies that stay innovative, agile, find something unique, and actually then connect it to the customer in a meaningful way where the customer goes, geez, I really like this. It makes it easy for me to use. And just think about, mobile phone, the old mobile, how did the Apple phone really got going well after the first mobile phone, right? Mm-hmm. And then what charged that up? They stayed ahead of things from a tech and digital point of view with the internet, right? Mm-hmm. And that really made the smartphone what it is today. And now you got the evolution of that, which is AI. So we're about to live through an era, an exciting time in our life where we're going to see a significant change to our lives in so many ways due to AI. So they're not competitive advantages. Well, let's just talk about AI. AI could be a competitive advantage used correctly, or it actually if used incorrectly or not at all, you can actually drop way behind. So
what might be a competitive advantage for one might be a disadvantage from others.
Correct.
So like someone goes, oh, I don't like how Apple's got a locked ecosystem, so I'm going to go over here to Android.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about it the other day. Okay, great. Dean Mackie, we're going to put you on the spot. What is one of Josh Phegan's competitive advantages as a trainer? If you had to say you've known me for a long time, what would be one thing you'd say, hey, I think that's a competitive advantage for you? Geez, you're taking a long time here. You're really scaring me, Dino. Have you got one?
I'm trying to think about it. To make it meaningful for you, right?
Yeah. One competitive advantage. And so the interesting thing, I started to do the work and I started to ask some customers, said, hey, why do you use me? And they said, hey, your speed to market. So if something's actually happened or changed, you'll be straight on it, Johnny, like a spot, and you'll be able to produce a video, you'll be able to do a podcast, you'll be able to do leadership audio, and the speed at which you do that has been unbelievable compared to what they've seen elsewhere.
I think for you, Josh, it is speed to market, right? There's some really, you definitely jump on things in a way that make it really, you break the complex into easy, and you get into agent speak really quick, and then you teach agents how to actually translate whatever's going on, whatever the problem is, into a way to solve a problem for the customer, right? And so, and then I also think what you do is you actually take and create digital assets to allow people to engage with those in a different way. So you've got a number of things I think that create a competitive advantage for you. I also think you probably want, you're relentless in terms of your focus to get better and improve and stay ahead of the curve, and your ability to take information, digest it, and turn it out is second to none.
So when I look at you, do you know what I think the competitive advantage with Dean Mackie's been? No, but like the thinking, the speed at which you think, and the ability to be able to see things that other people just don't see. And I'm not saying visionary per se, but like the whole conversation is you can actually create an entire business model that no one's actually thought of before and actually spin it up really quickly and make it really successful. And that visionary capability is a thing. And so this is the thing. Sometimes it's a very tangible thing that people look at, it's like a touch and a feel of the product. Sometimes it's an untangible thing that actually is your competitive advantage. And often the thing is to actually realize when someone really loves what you do, if you can then learn to multiply that, and ultimately that's probably how you're going to discover that's actually a competitive advantage for you in the market. And that's what I'm trying to get us to have this whole idea. It doesn't have to be super big. Sometimes there are small wins, and those competitive advantages stay for a period of time until the regulation catches up.
Well, mate, look, I've got to tell you a quick story, and thank you for that, Josh. I mean, I always find it interesting how people perceive me because can be hit and miss.
No, I don't agree.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But I will say this. During COVID, one of the things that struck me when I was pacing around my lounge room like everyone else was and doing my 10K circuit around my lounge room was that I just knew that we had to find a way to connect the dots as it relates to how our data works and all that. And I sort of thought to myself, if we think about this industry at the moment, we are so blessed with first-party data but we just don't know how to use it right. And the portals would love to have access to our first party data. We have a lot of consents, and we're really, really close to it. And it's a really unique thing that we need to take advantage of. So we were trying to solve that puzzle. How do you find a way to access your first party data in a meaningful way? And out of that became a decision to invest in some infrastructure to make that happen. And we've been working at it now for a few years. To work out how do we use and connect all that information, and how do we enhance it and produce meaningful changes in terms of the way we produce content and connect with our customer. And then equally, how do we generate leads at the right time for an agent that they wouldn't be expecting to create a lead from that particular a person who's in their CRM. And so, so you're trying to create a competitive advantage of getting to people in ways that your competitors can't, to give your team a competitive advantage, right? But these are things that so it doesn't have to be, and that's just a simple strategy that says let's take stuff we've already got and just get smarter and use it better than anyone else. So I think sometimes your competitive advantage could be just sitting right in front of you, and even the way that your people go into a lounge room, and demonstrate their value can be a significant competitive advantage handled correctly.